Mowat Lodge, Canoe Lake, July 7, 1917. To Dr. James McCallum. Dear Sir, I am still around Fraser's and have not done any sketching since the flies started. The weather has been wet and cold all spring, and the flies and mosquitoes much worse than I have seen them any year, and the fly dope doesn't have any effect on them. This, however, is the second warm day we have had this year, and another day or so like this will finish them. Will send my winter sketches down in a day or two and have every intention of making some more, but it has been almost impossible lately. Have done a great deal of paddling this spring, and the fishing has been fine. Have done some guiding for fishing parties this spring, and will have some other trips this month and next, with probably sketching in between. Received this slip of paper a day or so ago, and don't know anything about it. Would you give it to Jim McDonald or someone around the building with permission to do anything about it they see fit? If they will, I will be greatly obliged. Hoping you are well. I am. Yours truly, Tom Thomson.
West wind blow from your prairie nest, blow from the mountains, blow from the west. The sail is idle, the sailor too, the wind of the west, we wait for you. Blow, blow, I've wooed you so, but never a favor you bestow. Forwards far the rapids roar, fretting their margin forevermore. The strong old paddle be brave canoe, the reckless winds must plunge into. Reel, reel on your trembling keel, but never a fear my craft will feel. The rapid, we're far ahead. The river slips through its silent bed, and up on the hills, against the sky, a fir tree rocking its lullaby. Swings, swings in emerald wings, swelling the song that my paddle sings.
Been up here making sketches, so it will not last very long. You keep on making them, and have a much better time sketching and fishing and be further ahead in the end. I am still around. Every intention of making some more.
was happening. I remember tripping, then falling overboard, and then drowning. But look at me. I'm dry, my clothes spotless. Everything's getting foggy. I remember an argument, strong words. Fraser? Winnie? Winnie. Everything's getting blurry. Colors are smudging, running together. Nothing is staying still. It's all moving. I can't hold on. Colors swirl. Never just shift.
That's all right, Tom. Things are shifting. You are at the point at which you can either extend yourself further and go towards an unfamiliar brilliance, or return to a familiar and more soothing dimness. This is the threshold of magic, and I'm here to help you towards that unfamiliar brilliance, to help you make sense of what is happening. We are escorted on every hand through life by spiritual agents, and a beneficent purpose waits for us. Remember, the divine is not so far away as you may think. It's right here, in the nature you have so faithfully adored all your life. It's in the people we love and who love us. You have shown the world that in every landscape, the point of astonishment is the meeting of the clouds, the meeting of the sky and the earth. The uprolled clouds and the colors of morning and twilight will transfigure maples and alders. There is nothing so wonderful in any particular landscape as the necessity of the beautiful under which every landscape lies. Beauty breaks in everywhere, and the beauty of it, the landscape must always seem unreal and mocking, until the landscape has human figures which are as good as itself. And you are such a one, Tom Thomson. Take consolation, Tom, in the fact that no man is quite sane. Each has a vein of folly in his composition, a slight termination of blood to the head that pulls him hard to some one point which nature has taken to heart. But the artist finds himself not near enough to this object. The pine tree, the river, the bed of flowers before him does not seem to be nature. Nature is still elsewhere. Is it that beauty can ever be grasped? One cannot bandy words with nature, nor deal with her as we deal with persons. The knowledge that we traverse the whole scale of being, from the center to the poles of nature, and have some stage in every possibility, lends that sublime lustre to death, which religion and philosophy have too outwardly and literally striven to express through the popular doctrine of the immortality of the soul. The reality is more excellent. Here is no ruin, no discontinuity. Call upon all that you love, Tom, to help you in your journey. And remember, there are spiritual agents. Wait! Who are you?
What did you say? Spiritual agents. So familiar. Emerson. Ralph Waldo Emerson. The fellows in the office are always reading his essays. We are escorted on every hand through life by spiritual agents. Who are they? Harris? McDonald? Dr. McCallum? Robinson? My family? Mom? Sis? Uncle Brodie? Can they help me now? Can they escort me again? What is death, really? I die every time I get away from it all. Like Seattle. It all got to be just too much, and I had to get home. I die every time I get away from it all just to be alone. Dying. Should be good at it by now. What about those times to the sum of my life wouldn't amount to anything? That's dying. Does my life mean anything? Does my art mean anything? Where I pick up that brush and allow that light that never was on land or sea, that's death. I want to see what really is, to move my hand, make new worlds right before my eyes. I cannot stop creating. Emerson says something about threshold of magic. We wonder, if we really do traverse the whole scale of being, as he said, and creativity cannot die, then this is the threshold of magic. How do I cross? And what waits on the other side? We need ages. I'm an artist, so I must start with form and color. Harris was always going on about form and color. Form and color, Tom. Form and color. Brush and palette. Form and color. You have always believed these to be the weapons of painting. Form and color. The central connection between form and color brings us to the question of the influence of form on color. Form alone, though totally abstract, has the power of inner suggestion. A triangle has a spiritual value all its own. A yellow triangle, a green square, a blue circle, all have their own spiritual values. And since forms and colors are limitless, their combinations and their influences are indeed infinite. Form, in the narrowest sense, is nothing but the separation line between surfaces of color. This is the outer meaning. There is also an inner meaning, and form is the outward expression of this inner meaning. So then, for harmony must rest on the corresponding vibrations of the human soul. The abstract is gradually creeping into art, and is to be seen as a gradual advance. For as the abstract form gains prominence, the organic form goes back. This is why the choice of material is so important, and nature provides so much. The spiritual accord between the organic and the abstract can only strengthen the appeal of the organic. Do you see, Tom? I know you do. I can see it in your painting. Remember that afternoon, Tom, on one of the shores of the Koshan Lakes in Algonquin, when a powerful storm blew in. A strong gust of wind across the lake, and all nature was tossed into turmoil. You and I were in an abandoned lumber shack. When the storm broke, you looked out, grabbed your sketch box, ran out into the gale, and began to paint in a fury. You were one with the storm's fury, though your activity, while keyed to a high pitch, was nonetheless controlled. In 20 minutes, Tom, you caught in living paint the power and drama of a storm in the north. We see you going so much further with your work, Tom. The more an artist uses these abstracted forms, the more deeply and confidently will he enter into the kingdom of the abstract. You are now approaching the kingdom of the abstract, the deeply spiritual, the essential. I'm sure you can feel it now, Tom. You are certainly beyond form. It is your essential being that is leaving the objective and entering into the sublime. Do not be afraid. Form and color, they are no longer necessary. No longer necessary. All I've known is form and color. Are you saying that it's all right to step into the abstract? There has to be form. Some kind of form and color. Imperfect notes destroy the soul of music, so does imperfect color destroy the soul of a canvas. What is the soul of a canvas? What's this? These sketches. Or is that here for? Like spruce.
We're dead, and yet you make us burn. Perpetual immolation within this 8 by 10. We have no choice but to push forward. Don't come too close, or we will singe the eye with ochre, cinnabar, heliotrope, and rust. Why do you focus on travesty and loss? Are we just a color etude for paint and brush? Or are you asking us to chant the profound declamation of nature's rhyme? We'll just keep silent and burn eternal. Stand like anguished tannenbaums, alight with death. And yet we will always be alive.
No choice but to push forward. But how? How must I endure to get through this portal, this tunnel, this journey? I just wanted to paint, passing of the seasons, the subtle changes of the seasons. I wanted to keep a journal, like my Uncle Brodie told me to. William Brodie, you and I died. Uncle Brodie, you taught me how to move through the bush and not miss special flower. The ordinary flowers was out into there. Bird song, deer stat. You taught me to be alert. You're always telling me to keep a journal. Keep a journal, Tom. That's the best. Don't let a day go by without assessing down everything you do. All that you see and hear and taste and touch. But most of all, what you feel. What you feel when the lake is still. There's not the sound of a wind or sound of a bird. You get deep, deep you listen. And a whole new world reveals itself to you. You start to hear the subtlest sounds of the earth itself. Hear it has its own sound, Tom. Own tone. Always listen for it. You want to feel the rhythms of nature from which all art springs, you know. Smell the changes in the seasons. Be sensitive to that and you'll always be prepared. Always look. Just scan the view, but look. Dive into the colors that are there before you. In a sense of life, Tom. And who knows? Maybe someday you'll be able to translate this whole panorama of God's grandeur so that others can see it as it truly is. Remember, with these probings, musings, glories, them in your journal. But look at these! I've painted one each day since the thaw. That's a kind of journal, isn't it? I wanted to paint the miracle of life renewing itself. The awakening of a mysterious something. Something that never dies, just withdraws after each cycle of experience. Maybe just to contemplate its achievements. I yearn to trace, line by line, tone by tone, and note by note, every step of this ageless mystery. I tried to capture and record the spirit of every experience. Nothing has ever been done before. Mark Robinson. I wanted to hang the entire spring sequence in Mark's cabin. He was reluctant at first. Mark, Tom, I've known you a long time. You know I don't know a thing about art, but I know you capture the Canadian bush like nothing I've seen. There's always drama on what you see. What was that time you came running over the Joe Lake portage, canoe over your head? You threw the canoe in the water, grabbed your paddle, and shot across the wharf, paddling like hell. You flew up to the cabin and came right in. Mark, I know you know just what I want. 3 trees, spruce, black spruce, rough, cold-looking trees, you know what I mean. Trees against a cold, green-gray northern sky. Where can I get them at once? Oh, you should try the little wharf beneath the safest pit. You'll find the trees you want in the group. But will they be against a cold northern sky? I'm sure they will, Tom. And you're off like a shot. Like a wild man over the portage. 3 days later, you're back into my cabin with a big smile on your face. Mark, those trees were perfect. Just what I was looking for, just what I needed. And the sky was just right. Just the right atmosphere. I always know what I want. You describe things so accurately, Tom. It's no trouble at all remembering the odd things we see every day. You have this uncanny ability to see the picture in your own mind, and then go out and find it in the bush. You never put in a tree for this and there, nor do you tape one out. I know, you get criticized for the colors you use, but I know you paint nature as you see it. It's almost as if nature's inside you and outside you, all at the same time. Mark. Don't know if you're a spiritual agent. You've always been a dear, dear friend. There was this old trout. Old Gil, we called him. I said to Fraser one day that we should go down to Jolie Dam down by the road, see if we can't catch the big fellow off guard. So away we went, grabbed our rods and headed off. It was cloudy, the light wind from the east. We must have tried for an hour or 2 with no success. I know what I'm going to do, said to Fraser. I'm going to go down to Westlake, catch a big fellow down there. There's tons of them down there. And then when it gets dark, put it on Mark's doorstep with a note. I'll make him think we caught old Gil. Didn't catch that trout or any other. No more trout. No more fishing. Painting. Just a handful of sketches and canvases with the all that's left of me.
You design me, painter. Nature lends you the elements. Sky, land, lake, trees, hills, waterfalls. Verticalities and horizons repositioned, pushing me to the frontier of the abstract, penetrating the essence of what is there. Nature shuns me. Perhaps I am more beautiful than she. You've taken me from out of doors, confined me to a little board. But here within these corners 4, you've put me on view to the world.
How dare these pictures talk back to me? What are they? Resentful? Encouraging? Taunting? Are they friends or demons? But they do speak to my core and soul. I've always doubted. I'm not sure if this is what I should be doing or if there's something different that I could be doing better. Got so much of that from Father. Damn it, I can't be dead. I've escaped drowning before. That time with Alan Ross, Dave's brother. It was at Vale's Point during the trout trolling season then. For about an hour, our lives weren't worth 5 minutes purchase. The fishermen ashore told us that when we returned, they didn't expect to see us alive again. Our boat swung into the top boat 50 yards from shore. You know where we went. Lines, oars, fishy tackle, everything. All rolled up onto the shore, swept in by the plumbers that were coming in. And there was me and Alan, wading in dry footing up to our waists in water. Dave and the others were there waiting for us, Tom. And they received us as though we had returned from the dead. We had just pulled for 4 miles through one of the worst blows I ever saw in Georgian day, in an 18-foot skiff. And you, Tom, were rowing in the bow. You never once spoke. You've never spoken of it, even afterwards. You used to make me hand and ink drawings of famous authors, statesmen, soldiers. They had the true Thomson touch. I used to write poetry, which I suppose was no more atrocious than any others of my kind. And at times we collaborated, you taking the illustrating end, obviously. I can only imagine that the final product must have been a fearful yet wonderful thing. One of them, the Battle of Dark Ideal, still hangs in Leeds School. You are one of the most caring and open-hearted men it's ever been my good fortune to know, Tom Thomson. But you do have strange antipathies, and the few people you dislike, you hate most cordially, and you're not at all diplomatic in concealing it either. There have been times when neither of us was quite sober, but it is during such times when men exchange real confidences. It was during one of these times I learned how truly sensitive you are and how you resent anything like public ridicule. As for myself, I seem to become more secretive the drunker I become. But you, Tom, are different. One night, you unbosomed yourself and lamented your lack of success in life in terms that rather astonished me. It's then that I began to think you truly realized your powers and perhaps had secret ambitions. Am I wrong, Tom? No, Alan, you're not. I think that's what scares me the most. Great potential. Always promise, always potential. But what did I actually ever do? I always thought that I would have forever, and I would paint hundreds more. Why, there'd be sketches. This whole countryside just waiting to be glorified in form and color, eternalized by art. Eternalized. What's that? Nothing lasts forever, man. Meter length. This well to wish for a better life than that of every day, where it is from every day that elements of a better life must come. Harris and MacDonald are always talking about transcendence. Maybe that's what's happening here. A transcendence of something or other. Emerson said, "The point at which you can either extend yourself further and go towards an unfamiliar brilliance, or return to a familiar and more soothing dimness, is the threshold of magic." What is life that we should murmur? Is death that we should fear? Are we not meant for something stirred, for some holier atmosphere? What is all this nature teeming, laughing upward, clothing all? O Holy One, is all a seeming? Must we slumber where we fall? No, I won't fall. I must get back to life. I must be dreaming. I've got to do something!
Well, in the moil of the life may dream, but the indolent mind of the vagabond wind and this far-off shine of the world for me. My body is here, but my soul is there. You may not keep me on such a day. When over the clover the mad wind rover is chasing the shadow and shine away. These are my brothers who call and call and yell to me song of the wind till I go. The gleam and the dream of the sun-faced wall, out to the sleeps of the deeps that flow. Oh, out in the woodlands, sleeping is shine, the brooks are brimming their glad glens through. And till in a mist to the far skyline, the hills to the verge of the world are blue. But the tuneless moon of the day and a bird, the pipes from the sunlit dreams wave tree, resting stir of a stream is heard, far from the jar of the world set free. Yes, the care and the wear of the world may grind, the toil and the moil of the life may dream. But the indolent mind of the vagabond wind and its far-off shine of the world for me.
This world is but a canvas, our imaginations. I wish your Dhamma could see this. Jet, take a look. The sky is a great golden wing out to spread of earth, and lifts the living and the dead to soar on airs of time. And the slow sadnesses of mortal day beat in quick rhythms of eternal play, where earth and heavens chime. Talk of mysteries, Tom. Remember Thoreau. Think of our lives in nature. Daily, we show in matter to come in contact with it. Water, trees, wind on our cheeks, the solid earth, the actual world, common sense, contact. Who are we? Where are we? Our lives revolve unceasingly, but the center is always the same. The wise will regard only the seasons of the soul. We are only what we see, Tom. Religion is faith and knowledge. The hands only serve the eyes. This world is for the canvas of our imaginations. And there's no place lovelier than Canada in which to live and to make art. I'll be ever so grateful to you, Tom, for getting us all to go up north. Such wonders you have introduced us to. And think we're on a whole new threshold of a view of a landscape we've been looking at for decades and have only begun to really see. I do believe that it is the work of the artist to paint or play or write in such a way that life is at large for himself and his fellow man. The painter will look around, finding everything good, will strive to communicate this feeling through a portrayal of the essentials: sunlight, snow, tree, tragic cloud, or human face, according to his own power and individuality. We perceive with the soul, we express with the body, and the soul would impress its own idealism upon our perceptions. Realistic pictures, then, are no more art, and stock reports or railroad timetables are poetry. You live humbly and passionately with the wild, Tom. Sends you apart and reveals itself to you. It then sends you out from the woods to share these revelations through your art. I have memories of the clearest crystal mountain days imaginable, when we fortunately sit in the height, seem to be sky people, living in light alone. And light alone. Maybe that's where I am. Don't seem to have any idea of where or here or there. Certainly isn't living. What is it, death? I feel as though there's something essential that still remains within, above, beneath, there. What is this glory in the nature it brings us and rides so sweet within us? Can it be that there was man as some kindred mystery of being, old heredity of bud and leaf, pulsing plant and tree and earth and air, and some olden speech their words had being, thou for spirits reach. Some essence, kin to music, subtle, deep, hums our souls as dreams melt through our sleep. Yea, 'tis a greatness that about us lies within our touch, pervading air and sod, and bounds our beings, hidden from our eyes, but inward, subtle, guiding us to God.
Feels not beauty he cannot grow. The inward greatness of this moving world. With troubled heart from cares and strife, I came beneath the roof of the tree. So on my soul the sweetness fell, and joy as hearing and breathing. I'd marvel how the magic works, how nature wields such power. To lift them up from common life, the soul redeemed and raised to to build our life a weft of dreams by one small rift of light divine.
Jackson used to say, in your paintings, Tom, there's never a feeling of being tied down to a particular place. Such a fine teacher, really. And a great sport when it came to camping and fishing. He didn't know a thing when we first set out. Without him, though, I would have known less about eating, been much lonelier camping. He'd say, you give us the fleeting moment, the move, haunting memory of things felt. Yes, Tom. The fleeting memory of things. Without you, Tom, the Canadian North is a desolation of rock and bush. We are your guests. You are a guide or interpreter, extending your hospitality. Our friendship is a partnership. I offer you the school learning and practical knowledge to help you realize the treasures stored up in your treasure house. Well, my debt to you is that of a new world, Canadian North, and a truer artist's vision, because as an artist, Tom, you have rare gifts. I remember when Dr. McCallan brought in this shy young fellow into Lauren Harris's studio. He was trying to convince you to drop commercial art and devote all your time to painting. I doubted I could make a living off of painting, doubtful of my own abilities. He was willing to cover your expenses if you would devote a year to painting, the same offer he made me. But you would rather earn a living through commercial art and go off and do painting on your own. I loved going off for 3 or 4 months to canoe and paint, but to make a living out of my art, being taken in seriously. Fortunately, you finally decided to try it for a year, and in January of 1914, we took the group into the new studio. The new building was a source of creativity, discussion, art, and plans for the future, and a vision inspired by the Canadian North. There's always so much to talk about. Camping, fishing, wildlife, you give it them. The art schools, paintings I have seen, and of course, the Impressionist school, which I admired. Unfortunately, I only ever saw the second-hand ones that they had on display at the C&E in Toronto. Remember when Dr. McCallum would stop by the office and take a look at our sketches and pretend to be very critical of them? He'd say, "You fellows must have something wrong with your eyesight." Him, the eye doctor. And then just before he'd leave, he'd go, "Well, I'll just take this one along with me." He'd reach into his pocket for some bills. You would always get so discouraged, Tom. Remember that night after a frustrating day, to be sure? You hurled your sketchbox into the woods and declared you would paint no more. The next morning, we hunted for the sketchbox in the woods, found it, and took it to Bud Callahan to be repaired. I'm so glad you never gave up, Tom. You've always been an adventurer, whether it be into the Canadian bush or into new palettes of color. You always paint what you see, and what more can we ask of an artist? You give us, fleeting moment, a middle of it, a haunting memory of things felt. A haunting memory of things felt. There is a haunting. Kind of haunting in the heart that echoes the soul. It's as though I'm standing on the edge of an abyss. I feel that I should jump, but then I wake up right before I leap. I don't know if this makes sense. Perhaps it's not supposed to. I've left no books, no journals. It was never my way. Very few letters, and those meager. All I have left is my art, and will show my legacy. Oh.
You wrenched me from the flow of time and caught not a fleeting image, but a moment of communion between you and what you saw. Not trees and rocks and water, but life and movement and drama. The drama of the nature, the land you so adored. Your own rough, brusque drama. You gave me colors, not that I had, but that you felt. And so what etched itself upon your soul, you emblazoned upon a board. From your visit to time, you brought the timeless.
My own rough, brusque drama. Drama? I just wanted to camp, fish, hunt, canoe, and paint. I can't seem to do any of that anymore. And then there's this letting go, releasing art into the world. Scary thing, to be sure. One can't avoid this letting go, I guess. Death occurs every moment. One moment dissolves into the next, dissolving the coarse to the subtle, the objective to the subjective, and back again. Those little deaths are always happening. Then there's this new work that I must finish before
There is something in the autumn that is native to my blood. Touch of manner, hint of mood. Touch of manner, hint of mood. And my heart is like a rhyme with the yellow and the purple. and the crimson keeping time, and the crimson keeping time. The scarlet of the maples can shake me like the cry of bugles going by, of bugles going by. And my lonely spirit thrills to see the frosty asters like a smoke upon the hills, like a smoke upon the hills. There is something in October sets the gypsy blood astir. We must rise and follow her, we must rise and follow her. When from every hill of flame she calls and calls and calls, calls each vagabond by name, each vagabond by name.
There. Certainly is different. This must be the kingdom of the abstract Harris is talking about. Strange world, to be sure. But is it done? Can they go on now? Wherever that is. Wish everything so. Everyone. Who is there left to help me? Always so encouraging. He used to tell me, learn what you can from the others, Tom. But whatever you do, don't lose your individuality. This individuality, when I seem to be melting into nature itself, the edges of my being seem to be blurring. Dr. McCallum, can you help me? Dr. McCallum? Your beatings of a feeling, truthfulness of a sympathy with the grim, fascinating darkland. Your early sketches were dark, muddy in color, tight, and unwanting for technical defects, but they made me feel that the North had gripped you as it had gripped me ever since I first sailed and paddled through its silent places. You depict lightning flashes, moving thunderstorms, you trees with branches lashing in the wind. My attention was first caught by a specific painting. One of us swallowed over the lake, blown by a northwest wind, the squall just off the far shore, the water crisp, sparklingly blue, and broken into short white caps. A picture full of life, light, and vigor. Remember that canoe trip that we had arranged, Tom? To go among the islands in the George in May and stay in my summer home until August. We paddled and portage our way from Goulburn Bay to Canoe Lake. In the fall, we went back to Toronto. 3 months of steady work in your studio, and by March you grew more and more restless. The fishing lures you made yourself strung like necklaces on the wall. Gradually they began to disappear, and we knew that your flitting time was drawing near. You would say, if I don't get up there now, the snow will all be gone. The next day, your shaft would be empty, and this became the rhythm of your year. Your knowledge of the appearance at night of the woods and lakes is unrivaled. You'd paddle out into the middle of the lake on which you were camping, and stay the night to get away from the flies and mosquitoes. Motionless, you study the night sky, or watch the changing outline of the shore. This beaver and otter played about your canoe, puffing slowly on their pipe. You would watch the smoke curling slowly up from a campfire amongst the tops of pines, where here and there peeped a star, or watched in wonder at the northern lights flashing across the sky, your reverie broken by the howling of a wolf, or whistling of a buck attracted by the fire. In these nocturnes, whether on the ghost light, shine upon the lake, or light upon a brook through the gloom of the forest, or the tent shown in the darkness by the dim light of the candle within, or of the driving rain illuminated by a flash of lightning, or of the bare birch tops forming beautiful peacock bands against a cold, wind-driven blue sky. One feels that with his nature far apart. The daring handling in unusual subject matter, the life you lead, sets you apart, Tom. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. McCallum. You made me feel as though my life has meant something to someone. That my art means something, not just to me, but to others. Then there's this new work. It'll be my final statement on nature. I was with Lismer at an art exhibition once. I asked him if he liked a certain landscape. He said he didn't. And they asked me how far away I thought the artist had been when he had painted it. Possibly 30 feet, I said. Well, how could he see the veins in the leaves and other intricate details at that distance? An artist has to paint the scene as it really is if it's going to be nature and going to last. He drew that sketch of me, looking so intent, leaning over my desk, my hair in my eyes, as usual. He has the ink bottle spilling over. I never spilled ink. Suppose he just wanted to capture me in the throes of industry and vigor of creativity. Friends in the office and friends in the bush. We had many a grand time camping and fishing, he and I. It was Molly's Island on Smoke Lake. We got there before the maple and birch had burst into leaf and stayed to see the miracle of another northern spring come again. We stayed to see the woods cover themselves in their infinite variety of color. The little white Canada violet, the sweetest scented of them all. Hecatomb, Trillium, Jack in the Pulpit, Auricula, Anemone, to name only a few. I wish I could name them all. They were a revelation to me of what nature could do in her wildest state, to brighten her somber depths of shade. Imagine a full moon, big and yellow, rising over the tops of spruce, casting a mysterious light on everything. The moonlight had color, by which you could see and appreciate the color of things. Remember what Ruskin said, Tom. Of all of God's gifts to the sight of man, color is the holiest, the most divine, the most solid. The word blue does not mean the sensation caused by the gentian on the human eye, but rather the power of producing that sensation. Yes. And that power is always there, in the thing, even if no one is there to experience it, and would remain there, though for not a man on the face of the earth. Yes, Tom. And nature is never distinct, but never vacant. She is always mysterious, but always abundant. You'll always see something, but you'll never see everything. Like Constable, subtle nuances of weather and atmosphere, love for immediate and intimate objects. The most important thing a soul can do on this earth is to see something, and to tell what it saw in a plain way. Hundreds can talk for one who can think, but thousands can think for one who can see. To truly see something is poetry, prophecy, and religion, all in one. Wait, don't go! There's so much more to talk about. What does he mean by seeing? I always paint what I see. I see trees, rocks, water, sky, belting snow, sunsets, fire-swept hills, wind-blown clouds. Or is there a sea?
Scorched umber, burnt scarlet, ravaged magenta, cinnabar singed, mauve marred, cerulean blurred. Is this the palette you use to define? I have laid waste these hills and trees and left debris and ruin in my wake. You dare to make it beautiful to see, transforming devastation for art's sake. I am the fire that swept these hills, left them ravaged black and gray. You reached into my soul with thieving skill and wrenched the colors there away, and splashed them on these barren knolls to give them life when there was death. I left the landscape desert folds. You gave your painting breath.
To give them life where there was death. I did that? What power do I have? Look, these agents, friends and colleagues really, they've all told me what great work I've done, what great art I've made. The art will have to speak for itself, and it seems it already has. But I must speak for myself. Is a life well lived only the objects we leave behind? Or is it the lives we touch, the decisions we make when creating, not art, but ourselves? Must my life be judged as a work of art? It must, and I have failed. So many disappointments. Mine and those of others disappointed in me. So many bad decisions, indecisions, so many roads not taken. How can I move through this threshold when the canvas of my life is so incomplete, colors so vague, the lines so weak? I'm tired. What can I do at this point? But you go back, can't seem to move forward. Can't it just stop now? So I'll be down. Sis? Look at these. Tom. You're such a beautiful, bright-eyed little lad with rosy cheeks and a happy disposition and a capacity for fun and enjoyment above the norm. Remember when the doctor told the mother to keep you out of school for a year, to let you roam the woods with your shotgun? In which you did, wearing an old felt hat, which you sewed with water and bent to a point over a broom, decorated it with squirrel tails and wildflowers. You did become an expert with rifle and shotgun, much to your delight and mother's dismay. And you were never afraid to be left alone in the woods with all those wild animals. For why should you be? The animals were your friends. Why? You picked berries on one side of the log while a big black bear picks berries on the other. And there was that time that you were tramping through the forest when you heard something coming towards you in the undergrowth. Next thing you knew, you saw a large timber wolf, one of the largest you had ever seen. The head, neck, and breast a jet black color, and the body the usual gray color. You said it was one of the most beautiful things you had ever seen. You were so close to him, you could touch him, reach out with your hand, sniff him up and down. But apparently he thought you were okay, because he just turned around and went his way, and you went yours. On the other hand, there was that time you were held up in Seattle. You were taking one of your shortcuts home, The next thing you knew, you'd be told to stick up your hands and were facing down with a barrel of a revolver. When you got home, the boys asked, "What did you do, Tommy?" Well, your own comic way, you put up your hands and shook your legs till your knees knocked together. You regarded the whole thing as a joke. Put up your hands and pet them up, while a fold-up man who was a rounded young fellow frisked you for your watch and a few dollars. He even remarked and that he must be new to the job as he trembled so violently. "Yes," said the bandit, "you are my first." And once he had secured everything of value, he bolted. Remember that oil painting you gave me for Christmas? It was of a team of horses and a young man with a plow. He was starting to unhitch the horses and gazing off into a vivid sunset. This was when you were taking those lessons from that elderly artist from Toronto, whose name I can't recall. This was the first time he'd given you any encouragement. He said, "Did you paint this? Well, you better keep on." The painting still holds a place of honor in my dining room. Thanks, Gus. It's funny I remember only the things you want to remember. It takes someone who really loves you to remind you of who you really are. My sister paints a good picture. What's this? Wow? Wow? Tom? Tom? It's time to come in. Get home this instant. Look at you. Where have you been? I know. The doctor said to let you roam the woods with your dog and your shotgun. You pray is the right thing to do. At some point, though, you do have to come home. I know you said God's out of doors is your home. And in some way, you may be right, son. After supper, we'll have your lessons. Tonight we'll read Lord Byron, so we'll go no more roving. I want you to memorize it, Tom. It's always good to have fine poetry in your head and in your heart. You never know when you might need it. Kind of like your dog and your shotgun. There was a time when I was, wrestling with the angel, you might say. And I would go for long walks in the woods, kind of like what you're doing now. And all of a sudden, these poems would come to me. Poems I had learned as a girl. The best way to describe it would be like old friends coming to visit. They provided me with comfort and strength. Poetry, songs, music. They'll be like that for you someday, Tom. Now go get me done. So we'll go no more roving, so late into the night, though the heart be still as loving, and the moon be still as bright. For the sword outwears its sheath, and the soul outwears the breast. And the heart must pause to breathe, and love itself have rest. Though the night was made for roving, the day returns too soon. It will go no more roving by the light of the moon. No more roving. I'm done wrestling with what could or should have been. Never really confided in anyone. I'm thankful to have had these agents, these angels really, to guide me. I've done what I've done. Been honest about it. I may have neglected some and disappointed others, but I have remained true to nature. To be glad of life, because it gives you the chance to love and to work and to play and to look up at the stars. To be contented with your possessions, but not satisfied with yourself until you have made the best of them. To despise nothing in this world except falsehood and meanness, and fear nothing except cowardice. To be governed by your admirations rather than by your disgusts. to covet nothing that is your neighbor's except his kindness of heart and gentleness of manner, to think seldom of your enemies, often of your friends, and every day of the Creator, and to spend as much time with body and with spirit in God's great open doors. These are little guideposts on the footpath to peace.
Any
I don't like brandy. Incredible sounds speak there was Larry Granny. I have a life that thrills and branching hidden. I have no patience, so I pills. The crumbs as we do. The somber words are wrong and songs are up. And giant was tipped tongue, I have the shadow below it. And the earth was sleep grunt and burst snow. I am the infinite gleam of eyes that keep the post of her blows. I am to the hush of calm, I am the sleep. The flood electronic song the marsh will steam. I work in the rocky rover counteracts all. I flash in the grizzly fire that dances out the 2 September ball. I am the voice of wind and wave in the tree. So stir these tires and blind of strength to me. I am the cry by night and a point of dawn. The summoning bugle from the unseen night, in cloud and doubt withdrawn.
The brilliance no longer unfamiliar. I no longer a vagabond. I am Tom Thomson.